Hello you, it's me. Today we're going to talk about the third book in the Wayfarers series by Becky Chambers, which is Record of a Spaceborn Few. This was the February pick for our Interstellar Book Club, the Discord for which I'll link below. Join it, it's very cool. Also join us next month when we talk about the fourth book in this series, which has just come out, I think. So there'll be a plot rundown as usual, things I liked, things I didn't like, themes running through the book, interesting bits, stuff I just wasn't keen on. There won't be much in the way of spoilers, but I will talk about characters and the world build, so if you don't want that spoiled for you, then read this before you watch this. This book follows Exodan humans. Hundreds of years ago, the people of Earth pulled their resources together and left a dying, poisoned planet, creating these huge generation ships called homesteaders, taking an incredible leap of faith, sailing out into the universe, and hoping that on the same ships, their grandchildren's grandchildren will find a new home. The human ships were found by the Aliens, an alien race we encounter in Book 1 and Book 2, who helped them relocate and settle, and humanity's journey to being a true spacefaring race began. Many homesteaders who separate themselves from the planet-siders and call themselves Exodans chose to remain on the generation ships to continue the lifestyle of their ancestors, living in a constantly tinkered, repaired, upgraded environment, taking pride in a closed system of trade, recycling, reclamation, salvage, and charity, where everybody has a purpose and no job is trivial. They have a real set of admirable values. But as the galaxy advances around them, they're viewed by other people as sort of backwards, impoverished, and in the wake of the explosive decompression of the homesteader ship, the Oxomoko, and its tens of thousands of families on board dying, this book really tackles the big question of where do you find the balance between upholding culture and tradition and improving opportunity, safety, and just life for yourself and your children? And is it possible or practical to do both? So, stuff I liked, and just stuff. So far, all of Chambers' books have been laid out very differently. This one was much harder initially to follow than the others. It takes place in a smaller physical space, but follows about 6 characters. So it took me a while to get into the rhythm of the book and remember who everybody was. Among them, a young boy looking for direction, questioning his place in society. A mother whose children are pushing to leave the Exodan lifestyle and go planetside. An older woman who is a caretaker, somebody who registers new births and is in charge of reclamation of the dead. And somebody playing host to a Harmagian, a jellyfish, anemone-like race who is as far as you can get from human. They're a professor of cultural studies and have come from outside to experience Exodan culture. I loved the Harmagian, Gulaloa, her comparison to both Soya, one of the characters, and her relation to Exodan society as a whole. So you have these 2 characters who come into a closed system from outside. You have Gulaloa and Soya, somebody whose great-great-grandparents were on one of the ships. So he goes to one of the ships because the planet he lives on is a dump. He's looking for new experience and assumes that because of his birth, his blood, he'll have some immediate connection with the Exodans, who are strangers, essentially. Then Gulaloa is as far from human as you can get, but they're a person who has researched custom, who has spoken to people to learn, who is open, honest, very respectful, and non-judgmental. One thing this book addresses really well is the difference between living in a society and visiting it as a tourist. At the beginning, the Harmagian being shown around the ship by a human did feel to me like it was going to be a writer's convenience, and I thought Chambers was using it to world build. But that really wasn't the case, because as the Harmagian learns about the culture, you have these chapters that are the Harmagians writing on their blog or to their students with their opinion, and it actually allows for objective examination of the Exodan society as part of the plot, which is very cool. And while you're following the Harmagian and the human together, who are very different, Chambers still manages to draw so many similarities between them and humanity that it makes you realize you are judging an awful lot by appearance, which is something that Chambers is clearly very against. Back to Sawyer, the guy I just mentioned. He arrives at the fleet, you have this guy assuming cultural connection through some shared trait. He goes back based on the Exodan value of nobody goes hungry, Everybody has a place to sleep and assumes that there'll be a better life for him there. But outside of that, he doesn't understand that to integrate, he actually has to pull his weight and have something to offer them. It's an important discussion. She loves important discussions, does Chambers, about romanticizing the idea of a culture without actually trying to understand it. And is the idea of returning to your cultural roots with a cartoony idea of what it's like in your head actually quite patronizing? Understanding people and joining in is something that takes work. Also, this book really hammers in the idea that just because somebody has less material possession than you or less access to the same things that you do, it does not make them a lesser or backwards person. I love the way Chambers has built a culture around not what can I get and how can I get it, but what am I good at? What can I do to help the people around me and make this environment a better place to live? A community based on sharing, thriftiness, yes, but also communal space, and a society where we all have the basics provided so we can all start from the same line. The way Chambers has made a people that have such an emotional connection to their dead and a sense of gratitude for the people that came before, I really loved. People that gave their lives, gave their bodies to keep the Exodans going. People who know and are proud to be standing on the work of others. The title of the book, I think, is closely tied to this. I think it puts emphasis on Exodans remembering who they are, remembering where they came from, and having that sense of gratitude. Maybe the unwillingness to integrate into a larger society is out of a fear of losing that. Maybe that's why anybody's scared when they talk about their culture being lost or diluted. And I love the idea of a culture that's totally built on and stems from taking a single big risk. Something that at its core is desperation, but also hope. Chambers makes us ask, what makes a culture worth saving? Is it our duty to preserve something that exists just because it exists without inviting change into it, even if that change could make it better, improve the conditions or the life for people? How morally correct is it to start bringing things in that, yes, could be advantageous, but may push out tradition? What's more important? What is the correct way to relate to people I share an ancestry with, but am very socially distant from? To preserve a culture, does anybody ever have the right to turn somebody away? Big questions and world builds are really Chambers' speciality, making the reader challenge these prejudices that they may not even know they had. I cannot wait for the next book to close the series off. I don't want the series to end, I just want the next book. Things I didn't like. The only thing I can pull this book up on at all is the fact that the Exodus story is identical to the story of the Romers in the Saga of Seven Sons. It really feels cribbed. If you haven't read the Saga of Sons, check it out. It's fantastic sci-fi, 7-book long space opera. Don't read the follow-up trilogy though, because it's trash. Humans gamble everything on building huge generation ships, fly out into the universe, take a leap into the unknown to escape a dying planet. They're picked up by an alien race who help them settle, help them build. The alien races are much more graceful than humans. The humans feel ashamed in their presence. Some of the factions of humans don't want to go planet side, so they stay in their ships, keeping up tradition, becoming a totally different culture. Exodans, Romers. I was like, But this book was cool, so I'm willing to let that slide. I think it's only by chance that I'd read both series, so I was able to pick up on that. I'm going to give this book 4 stars. I really loved it. All these 3 having been rereads for me, I can now comfortably say that book 2 is my favourite out of the 3. It's a solid series the whole way through. It's very emotionally driven sci-fi, very, very character driven, asks very important questions and looks at the future through a lens of hope. So it's definitely worth your time to read this. So that's it. Sorry if this video is a bit dark. My light bulb went. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter, which I'll link down below. Don't forget to follow me on Goodreads, which I'll link down below. Don't forget to like and subscribe. More reviews coming thick and quick. I read pretty fast. Don't forget to join our Interstellar Book Club Discord, which will also be in the description. If you've read these books, which one was your favourite? Let me know what you think in the comments down below. So thanks very much for watching my review, and I'll see you soon for the next one. Bye.